Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Admadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Motiveda Vibhagine Vyo Mabda Vyakta Dehaya Dakshinamutaye Namaha Tava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome to our satsang on Tripura. Last Monday, we saw all the logic not being presented by the son of the big sage, who is a sage and a yogi with a lot of power on his own. So he was explaining on the nature of the universe he created inside of the hill. And the prince, the son of the king, was really like, oh my God, so how can it be possible? And he was kind of becoming a disciple of the young sage. So in the verse 50, the young sage says, as long as the ignorance of the self lasts, so long will there be misery. So all of that on the account of the prince have gone in and out, and then 12,000 years have passed, and then he lost everyone, and he was feeling like, no, I have a cause here. I must be miserable, and it's natural to be miserable, and it's fair to be miserable. Some people, they feel that way. No, I deserve to be miserable. And somehow I have to be miserable. And the sage was explaining them, how can you be miserable? You lost everybody in the past, and you're not miserable just now because you lost all at once. But if you look back, all your fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers, you lost everybody there in any case. Now you just lost the people, the family you were dealing with, because all of the family that came after for 12,000 years, you did not even get in contact. So what is the big deal? Everything is just matter, energy, the 5 elements. So you are not your body, but we own the body, and that is the big problem as we remember. We say my body, my legs, my knees, my hair, my mind. So, but as we say, mind. So it's a fair question to say, okay, then introduce yourself. Are you the sense organs? Are you the mind? Are you the intellect? Are you, So what are you? Precisely, introduce yourself and tell me who you are. So Mahasena being confronted us sometimes, so I need to pause and take some time, reflect upon everything and consider carefully what you say. And then after some time he came back and he said like, no, I have to consider the matter, but I don't buy into all of this, okay? I lost my entire family. My grief is fair and it's natural and it is justifiable. So I must be suffering here. But he had a good attitude, say, Master, I don't understand, but I'm not going to accuse you of telling me fake news or false narratives or so on, deceiving me. So let me be your disciple until I understand it, which makes an entire new perspective. He's not accusing the sage. He has seen the powers of the sage and so on. I seek your protection because I need to understand. Everybody is overpowered by this misery, by grief. When people die, no one seems to know what the real self is. Being thus requested, the sage son spoke to Mahasena, my king, my future king, my prince, listen, people are deluded by the illusion caused by her divine majesty. They partake of misery that is due to the ignorance of the self. Their misery is meaningless. So their misery is meaningless is very, very to the point, and we need to remember that. Okay, many times we suffer, but we don't gain anything with suffering. Suffering is beating ourselves up for whatsoever reason, either a sense of inadequacy or incompletion, or I'm not good enough, or just oh no, I had a car accident and I lost my car. It was a full loss, entire. So, and I did not have a proper insurance. So I have all the rights to be miserable here. But misery is not going to accomplish anything. The suffering is not going to accomplish anything. I remember now, flashing in my mind, when I was very young, and I was going with my car with some people inside. We had a party to go, a kind of a friendly home party. And then I made an accident. And then just because I made an accident that was going to cost me some money to fix my car and the other car, something like that, I went to the party, and instead of having some fun, I was miserable just because of a small accident with my car. And then I started saying, oh, I had a car accident, and now I have to pay this, so I cannot enjoy this party. And then the other fools all come to console me. And, giving me a signal that, okay, it's all right, you have the right to be miserable, but it's going to pass, and so on. I mean, it's the notion of ignorance. And I was achieving nothing. The only thing I have achieved with being so miserable and drink was a hangover the next day, a terrible hangover. You understand? So we don't gain anything with engaging our feelings and emotions of grief or misery, or concern or anything. So we must learn to assess the situation and then let it go. And then you need to make a decision. Make a decision, but never look back to see if it was the best decision or so decision. No, nobody can make 100% all the time sure decisions. Nobody can. So, but we don't suffer with things, whatsoever the results are, because we have this knowledge at our disposal. And we know, we understand the game here. To be there, poor me, or miserable me, and I don't like this, I don't like that. Life is not fair. It's meaningless. Misery is meaningless, it says here. Very powerful statement. Do you agree, Philippe?
Yes.
Okay, next time you see your wife being miserable, so teach her that misery is meaningless, that she's not going to get anything, not even, much less your sympathy. As long as ignorance of the self remains, misery will be there, just as the dreamer is foolishly alarmed at his own dream. The ani, the samsari, is deluded by the serpents created by a magic performance. So also the man who is self-ignorant is terrified with life. Is terrified because life is a constant threat to the body. And the physical body is our instrument, and without this instrument, that ego cannot interact, cannot enjoy the sense of I am. So this ignorant man is going to be terrified with the world. Oh, but seems to be a strange statement. this one, no? Because he say the ignorant is terrified. Is terrified with what? With life, isn't it? Fear. Fear is behind everything. Now we are searching and seeking for security because we are afraid. There is fear. Fear is just projecting desires mostly for what? For securing my body, my life, my existence. You know, I don't want to die. And I'm identified with the physical body. And everybody is dying. A lot of people are dying. And if I believe I'm the body, I'm going to live a terrified life in constant fear because of this misidentification with the elements. Do you understand, Philip? Just as the dreamer awakened from his fearful dream, or the man attending the magic performance, once informed to the unreal nature of the magic creations, no longer fears those tricks, but ridicules another who does feel fear. So also the Jnani, the aware of the self, not only does not grieve, but also feel pity or finds it funny to see other people's grieving and feeling miserable and afraid and terrified with everything. Therefore, O valiant hero, batter down this impregnable fortress of illusion and conquer your misery by realizing the self. So, you need to be a hero. You need to be a warrior. What kind of warrior is this? You know, you are confronting the greatest possible enemy of human beings, you know, which is ignorance, avidya. It's the greatest. I mean, we suffer in life because of this fundamental ignorance. So we are afraid of other kinds of enemies because they could bring about misery to our lives. But the most fundamental enemy is this misconception I'm the body, because that brings a constant misery in my life. And it's not an outer enemy, it's my inner ignorance in regards to what I am. Therefore, O valiant hero, batter down this impregnable fortress of illusion and conquer your misery by destroying your eternal enemy, the self-ignorance, and by doing so, realizing your nature as Satchitananda. In the meantime, remain discriminating and not a fool. So we need to discriminate. There are two levels of discrimination. One is discrimination between Dharma and Adharma, and nowadays in the world, everybody's confused. There is so much information, there's so many false narratives from all sides that we are losing, like I said, we don't know anymore who or what to trust. But somehow we have to have a sense of what is fair and what is unfair, what is Dharma and what is Undharma, what is good and what's evil. We need to somehow keep that, because this is the level one of discrimination, so that we can navigate in this confusing world, and yet not having our mind totally disturbed. So we need to discriminate in mithya, trying to observe and live a dharmic life, avoiding misleading source of, because there is an inversion all over the place between good and evil. And then having a qualified mind, discriminate again and again. You are not the body, but you are the conscious self, vivifying this physical body. So we need these two levels of discrimination. The first level is preparing us for the more subtle discrimination between the aspect of my human experience that does not change from the other aspect of my human experience that is a constant flux of change and nothing else. There is only one thing that does not change, and I am that. So this is the final and the only final resolution, yeah, of the human condition. After hearing the sage son, Mahasena said, Master, your illustration is not to the point. Dream or magic is later realized to be illusory, whereas this hard, concrete, solid, tangible universe is always there, and it is constant, it's permanent, it's continuous, yeah? And it serves a purpose, therefore it's absolutely real. So you cannot compare magic shows and some confusion between a snake and a robe, or whatsoever I see in my dreams, my dream state. So no, here we talk about solid, tangible universe. Yeah? This is a persistent and unquestionable real universe. How can it be compared to the other natures of, what is it? Compared to the evanescent dream? Then the sage son answered, listen to what I say. Your opinion that the illustration is not to the point is double delusion, like a dream in a dream. So the sage is presenting a lot of teachings, logics, observed, from one's day-to-day experience of life, trying to help the disciple to understand, the illusory nature of this physical world, which is totally a reflection within the mirror of consciousness through my human mind. So I have my mind, the world is happening within me as a reflection, and it's not different from the reflections on the mirror. And we have seen all those logics, and then we have seen the logics in regards to the power of Maya and the capacity of deluding all human beings, and the fundamental problem, which is this avidya. Now, we suffer avidya in two levels. Avidya on the manifest level is very hard to understand what's going on. And the most subtle avidya is even harder, is to understand that the world is just a reflection in my mind. That is the harder one. It's already hard enough to understand. And today they say, science now says that this and this is good for your body. And then tomorrow, no, it was wrong. And that way it goes. All the time having to revise everything. So he say it is like your point here. What is that? Your opinion that the illustration I just present to you is not correct is again more delusion. It's like a dream within a dream. It's a delusion within a delusion. Okay, just imagine somebody is dreaming in the night, and then within the dream he starts dreaming that he's dreaming. So this is the nature of one thing that we can say, I'm dreaming, okay? And then in the dream, there is something going on that's threatening here. There is a robber to my property, okay? I'm dreaming that. And then the night comes, and then I start dreaming. And then when I start dreaming, I dream that I was taking vacation in Thailand, enjoying the sea, and the beach and the sun in an island. So now I have my Thailand vacation that happens within my property when I was experiencing a robbery, but then I went to bed in my dream, and then I had a dream. So yes, it's one dream within the dream, within the dream, and somehow these things, these layers of delusion, they happen to human experience. One delusion, we see another delusion, we see another delusion. And there is only one thing that's real, which is the light of consciousness reflecting all these delusions that we human beings experience, There is only one knowledge, realmente, really, that is for sure. The only knowledge is direct, it's immediate, always present, never change, which is my nature. Everything else is a reflection within this consciousness, and I am in this consciousness. The commentary says that the first delusion is the idea of separateness of the universe from oneself. And the second is the idea that the dream objects are an illusion in contradistinction with those seen in the awakened state. So the first level of illusion is the most fundamental, is to believe that the universe is real and it is out there. And of course, it's not just a reflection in my mind. Okay, it's not happening in my mind, but it's happening out there. This is the most fundamental delusion. And then out of this delusion, the world is real, and it is there. And I need to accomplish my goals in this world so that I can be fulfilled. And the other is the idea that the objects in the world, that the objects are an illusion. The dream object, no, the dream objects, I understand it's an illusion. But this world that is out there, that I have assessed and I have determined, that is apart from me and out there, and I am here, I am the body-mind. When we say I am the world, so I'm taking myself to be the body-mind. And then there is time and space and all kinds of projections or reflections within my mind. So this is the double delusion presented by the commentator here. This is compared to the illusion that a dreamer mistakes the dream rope for a dream serpent. So this is classic Vedantic analogy. So, but here it presents the illusion that there is someone who is dreaming, and in the dream, he finds a mistake. He makes a mistake, and he sees. Let me change a little bit. It's compared to the illusion that a dreamer mistakes the dream serpent for a rope. So you are dreaming, and then in the dream, you see a serpent. You heard so much of Vedanta say, oh, the rope, and you see a serpent, you see a rope. You see a rope, it is a serpent. That's what I meant to say. That is a very, very dangerous mistake, because we present this analogy like, oh, it's a rope because it is, how you say, harmless. But just imagine that it is a serpent and you see a rope. And then it's big thing. And that when we talk about a mistake really, now you can see that you take a dream serpent within the dream to be a rope, and then you wake up freaking out because the serpent did bite you in the dream. But it is a dream. The dream itself is an illusion. And the mistake of taking the rope the serpent as a robe is also an illusion. It's an illusion within an illusion. Consider the dream as a dreamer would, and tell me whether the trees do not afford shade to the pedestrians and bear fruits for the use of others. Is the dream realized to be untrue or a dream? In the dream state itself? No, again, this is a point that we have seen again and again. So in the dream, everything serves a purpose, but serves a purpose. Just imagine the dream. I made some good investments in the dream, Felipe, I forgot to tell you. And then I make millions and millions and millions of reais. I was so excited in the dream. Felipe likes investment. I was so excited in the dream, and I even saw, like, I'm going to tell my friend Felipe. And then I start spending the money in the dream because I was a multi-millionaire. It served a purpose. I was enjoying all that money. But then I wake up, and then the money was no longer in my bank account because it was in the dream bank. So I was again not a millionaire. So the dream, yet objects of the dream, they serve the purpose. Okay. So what is the problem? What is the difference here? They say, oh, but no, you cannot present this argument because the dream disappears. Okay, the dream disappears. And then you could say, oh no, now I'm a poor man again. I lost all my millions in the dream. I want to go back to that dream. But I can't go back to that dream because that's up to Ishvara. Ishvara is going to just make me dream. So I cannot go back to be the rich man who made the wonderful investment and so on. And in the real life, the argument is, no, it's different because in the real life, there is continuity. You go from awakened state to sleep and dream, and when you come back, things did not change. What did not change? It changed, and sometimes it changes very fast. Sometimes it changes overnight with a collapse in the stock market or whatever. You understand? So many times we have this impression that is different. This is real because it's structured and does not change, but it's changing. And sometimes it changes suddenly, like an earthquake or a typhoon, or one of those storms that destroys everything in your surroundings. No, things here are changing as well, but they are structured because they are more dense. As Einstein said, there is energy and condensed or densified energy is matter. Matter is nothing but densified energy. So to create this dense universe, energy has to grossify, densify, and then the change is not like that, but it's a constant change, but there is a structure that gives us an illusion of continuity and not change. You look at yourself in the mirror every day, and you will never going to notice that you have changed physically, but you have to destroy all pictures of yours from the past. And now it's almost impossible because people keep sending you old pictures of you to remind you, oh, we were together there 10 years ago. So we have this delusion that the dream, that this world here is real because it appears that it remains the same from one day to another. But no, it does not even remain the same from one moment to another. And furthermore, do you know that the dream is rendered false after waking up? It's not the waking world similarly rendered false in your dream or deep sleep. So from the standpoint of my dream, the awaking state is non-existent. It's not even real or false. It's non-existent. It is falsified from the standpoint of the dreamer. And what about the sleeper? The sleeper, I don't know anything about the dream world. I don't know anything about this awake world. To me, reality is only an experience of Satchitananda, of bliss, another Maya kosha. Do you contend that the awakened state is not so real? It is not so because there is continuity in it after you wake up. Is that not continuity in your dreams from day to day? This is an important point because we have the illusion, no, awakened state is continuum. How so? Because I wake up and it's there. And I had some people that I kept two friends awake and say, oh, I'm going to sleep for 6 hours. But these 6 hours, make sure that the world does not go anywhere. Yeah? And then the people are going to report to me when I wake up. And then I ask, so my friends, did the world remain, this physical material world? Yeah? The wake say, no, they were here. Oh, then it continues. Yeah? And how about the mental world? The dream world, the subtle world, of mental impressions. So that, no, that is not continuum. Who told you that's not continuum? We can make the same experiment. You just, I was dreaming, now I woke up, and then I say, so, and then the dream world disappeared, it's not real, disappeared. And then I make a lot of other people making this scientific experiment, and then they are there registering that the dream world remains in the mind of everybody else who is still sleeping and dreaming. This subtle and physical universe, they are continuous. They are not real, but they are all the time there, and they keep changing. Continuity exists on the three levels: causal, subtle, and physical universe. So this is not good logic. If you say that it's not evident, tell me whether the continuity of the wakeful world is not broken up every moment of your life. This is another beautiful point. If you say that this is not enough evident, tell me whether the continuity in the wakeful universe is not broken up every moment of your life. So the awakening state, which is something that happens through our mental process, is happening in our mind, is a broken up phenomenon that occurs on every moment of our life. And this is a good insight that Ramji has, that he says that you are born with every thought and you die once the thought is over, and then there is a gap before. So the world is nothing but a thought in respect to this experience. So there is a constant breakup every moment of one's life in the awake state. It's not continuous. It gives us a sense of continuity. But there is always a gap between one thought to another thought, to another thought, another experience, another thought, another thought. And here and there we can get a sense that in those breakups we find peace. In those breakups we find satisfaction. You understand? Because the world somehow paused. The world is paused. But this is a problem. For as long as the world impacts us as raga and vesha, desire and fear, desire and aversion, and then the world is not there, and then I'm not subject to desire and aversion. So every constant flow of thoughts in our awake state is a broken up process that gives us an illusion of continuity. Do you suggest that the hills, the seas, and the earth itself a really permanent phenomenon, in spite of the fact that their appearance is constantly changing. Everything is changing, my friends. Is not the dream world also similarly continuous with its earth, mountain, rivers, friends, and relatives? If you take the awake state in the world of the awakened state, if you take it to be constant and permanent, although they are all the time changing, but if you take them to be constant, you have to take the dream world also to be constant. It's just that the changes are faster, and it changes from one thing to another in a second, fraction of a second, with our thoughts of reflections or projections of the mind. But if you say that the awakened state universe or world, physical world, is continuous, and then we have to say that the dream world also similarly is continuous, because the subtle universe in which you find earth, mountains, rivers, friends, and relatives, they are there at all times. It's just reflections in the mind in a different way. So in the awakened states, we have reflections of things that appear. They appear to be things, objects that appears to us, the physical material universe appears to us, and they reflect in our mind. And then we say, yes, they are real because I see, I see the tree, and I see the tree, and I have the knowledge of the tree. The thought of the tree is equal to the tree. And then when I see it in the subtle universe of dream and imagination, deliration, or dream state, it's a reflection in my mind. And where is this reflection coming from? It's no longer coming from the physical trick of Maheshwara, the physical, tangible, material universe. It's coming from another trick, which is every interaction I have with the world leaves impressions. The objects exist in my mind as impressions in respect to those objects, and they reflect themselves as well. Not only in the dream state, but even in awake state, when I decide to dream while awake, imagining. So the dream world, the borderline, the dream world is as unreal as the physical material world. Do you suggest that the hills, the sea, and the earth itself are really permanent phenomena, in spite of the fact that their appearance is constantly changed? Is not the dream world also similarly continuous? It's earth, mountain. Do you still doubt its abiding nature? Then extend the same reasoning to the nature of the wakeful world and know it to be equally ephemeral, how you say, evanescent. Appear, disappear very quickly. Do you still doubt its abiding? So abiding means to say, what is the real meaning of this word abiding, please? Binding, we know, right? Something that binds you. Abiding, in this context here.
It means to stay.
Again, please.
To stay.
Abiding, to stay?
To stay.
Hmm.
To remain.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, understood. So do you still doubt the abiding nature of the dream state, because it's similar to the awakened state? Then extend the same reason to the nature of the wakeful world and know it to be equally evanescent. Anything from you guys? They ever change objects like the body, the trees, the rivers, islands are easily found to be transitory. The rivers, a river, he put here, rivers is a nice example. The rivers, they change so easily, you know. Sometimes they change course as well. So I'm surrounded by small rivers here, and they change. They change in volume of water according to the trees, and sometimes, you know, some trees falls here, and then some rocks come down, and then they change course. They ever change objects such as the body, the trees, the rivers, islands are easily found to be transitory. Even mountains are not immutable, for their contours change owing to erosion of waterfalls and mountain torrents, ravaged by man, boars and wild animals, insects, thunder, lightning, storms, and so on. So even the biggest mountains, you know, rocky mountains, they are still changing. It's less noticeable, but they are changing due to many different events. So you will observe similar change in the seas as well, and on the earth. So the sea is changing, everything is changing, the earth is changing, the climate is changing. Nothing remains the same. Therefore, I tell you that you should investigate the matter more closely. You will probably argue as follows. So, and then the guru says, okay, you know, I know already your doubts, and you probably will argue with me as follows. Dream and the wakefulness resemble each other in their discontinuous harmony. How beautiful. The dream world and the awake world resemble each other in their discontinuous harmony. Appear, disappear, appear, disappear, appear, disappear, changing. First born and died, like a chain made up of links. There is no unbroken continuity in any object, because every new appearance implies a later disappearance and a previous disappearance. Very beautiful. Dream and wakefulness in both universes, they resemble one another in their discontinuous harmony. There is a harmony, there is an intelligence, there is a structure. Nothing appears from nowhere and disappears, you know, into emptiness. There is a discontinuous harmony. Things are not continuous, but there is an intelligence behind this appearance and disappearance. It's exactly like a chain made up of links. So you have all these links that make a chain. And when you see a chain is not continuous, because you know, they are just linked to one another. You know, you open one of those links and then the chain is not continuous. Huh? So very beautiful. And then the same way the world. So what is the link between, you know, my vision now and my vision in a few seconds, or my thoughts now and my thoughts in a few seconds later on? Yeah? they are linked together somehow. Have you noticed that sometimes you enjoy a chain of thoughts? We even use this expression, chain of thoughts, huh? A chain of thoughts. And then it goes from one thought to one thought to one thought. When you see, oh my God, but I was thinking something totally different. Deliberately, I want to think about something, but one thought linked me to another thought, another thought, another thought, and now I'm thinking about something completely different from what I began trying to think. So what it says here beautifully is that there is a chain, an harmony between these links, okay? They are not connected, but they are not disconnected completely. There is a disconnection, but there is a harmony, just like a chain made up of links. There is no unbroken continuity, meaning to say there is no unbroken continuity in any object, because every new appearance implies a later disappearance. So at the same time, he says it's not continuous, it is discontinuous, but there is a link, there is an harmony, there is a cause and effect between those object that appears in the mind, that reflects them in the mind. There is no, and then he said there is no unbroken continuity in any object or thoughts, because every new appearance implies a later disappearance. It is built into it. If you think something, when something appears, that thing is going to disappear from your mind. But continuity cannot be denied in the fundamentals underlying the object. Oh my God, this is so profound. There is no unbroken continuity in any object. Meaning to say, the continuity, there is broken continuity in any object. It means to say there is a broken continuity in any object, because new appearance implies its disappearance. But continuity cannot be denied in the fundamentals, in the bottom line, in the basis, okay? That underlies all objects. There is a continuity. What is the continuity that he is pointing to? Yeah? That everything appears, and then this thought is going to disappear, but is going to link by notion of other impressions to bring birth to another thought. Fundamentally, in the ocean, they are all linked. All these waves, fundamentally, they are connected as the ocean, but they appear here, they appear there. These thoughts appear, and they are broken, but they are not really absolutely broken, because there is a continuity that cannot be denied in the foundation underlying all objects, such as the ocean is the foundation of every wave. Very beautifully put. Are we on the same page?
It is really profoundly beautiful. And to imagine to live that understanding, that is really beautiful.
Yeah, we are very lucky.
Yeah.
So the fundamental underlying every thought is consciousness. So nothing is just a disconnect from consciousness. So the ocean here is consciousness, as an analogy, as the ocean and waves or thoughts that appear disconnect, but there is a continuity in the foundation of everything, which consciousness. Consciousness is keeping all of this that appear and disappear, but in the foundation of everything, there is something that is continuous, and this continuity is consciousness underlying all thoughts, all objects, all appearance in the subtle and in the physical world. Because a dream creation is obliterated and rendered false by present experience, what distinction will you draw between the fundamentals underlying the dream objects and the present object? The same underlying fundamental or foundation or ground is present as consciousness. The dream world appears in consciousness, reflects or superimpose on consciousness, howsoever we want to see it. And the awakened state as well, the objects, they appear in the underlying reality. Only reality is consciousness. So there is no distinction. The fundamentals underlying the dream world and the physical world is the same. But if you say that the dream, if you insist to say that the dream is an illusion, and its fundamentals are equally an illusion, this is good. Now, the dream world is different from the awakening world. Why? Yeah, because in the awakened world, I can take that there is something other than my thoughts, and that is consciousness, okay? Okay, consciousness. But in the dream world, no. In the dream world, there is no foundation underlying the dream world that I could call consciousness. Why? Because it's a dream. Então, a dream cannot be an appearance in consciousness, but the awakening world we can take to be an appearance in consciousness. How so? What is the difference? What is the difference? Both subtle and physical universe, they are just appearance occurring in consciousness. Nothing escapes consciousness. There is no object without a subject, and the subject is consciousness. Even in the deep sleep consciousness there, nothing escapes consciousness. And the dreams objects and the physical objects, they are all there indistinctively. Embraced or blessed by this underlying consciousness, which is the foundation, the beingness of every subtle and physical object. You understand and you agree that the dream occurs in consciousness? I think we have no doubt about that, huh?
I have a question. I once asked, there seems to be a distinction between dream and wakefulness in that Taijasa cannot be free, right? And so what about that?
Well, it is an experience within consciousness, and somehow the dreamer, its intellectual faculty is not structured somehow or enough, because maybe because things are flashing out so quickly that it's difficult to wisely process those experiences, and then the dreamer is easily deluded, and then it suffers or enjoys those experiences, such as the fear of a tiger. So he cannot discriminate very well for some reason. So therefore, we know that the dream state does not offer us much, although a lot of people like the science of analyzing dreams. Well, to analyze dream, you can only analyze as a waker in a retrospective, as we know, you understand? And then you can get some insights into the nature of dream. But the fundamental here is that it's a different state of human consciousness. There are many states that reality is a little bit distorted and so on. There are some altered states through some drugs, such as ayahuasca and some others, that somehow you have those experiences, but somehow your intellect is not really in a proper state in which you can extract wisdom from experience, but it's happening in consciousness. And how I know? Because I was there as a dreamer. But are you the dreamer? No. Are you the awaker? No. I am the fundamental grounds, okay, which is the same, that is there underlying the dreamer and the dream world, and the awaker and the awake world. It's happening in consciousness equally, but different states. And the most intriguing thing is still is in respect to the question that I present to Swami Paramarthananda with the help of Mark when he went to India. Yeah? So, and we know these three states: awaking, awake state, and dream, and sleep. And how about these other states, which are spiritual, mystical, or whatever, esoteric states that allows people to somehow to access these different locus and have certain experiences there, in these upper locus, leaving the body, or temporarily. Sometimes people, they have this thing of astral travels, and they go and they come back to just like a dream, but they go, it's not really the dream, but it's a little bit similar. They experience this world, that loka, this loka, and then when they die, they leave, and then it's said that they go there and they spend some time in some of these lokas to somehow exhaust some punya papa before getting another birth. Waiting in line for the next birth. Meanwhile, you exhaust some punya papa. And then the question was, and so when we are there, we are experiencing, and my question to Swami Paramarthananda, I said, but no, I guess it's not conducive to knowledge or spiritual growth, because the experience is not objective, but it's subjective. It is subjective. I'm experiencing my impressions. And then Swami Paramarthananda, he corrected me at that point, saying that, no, the experience is objective. It is subjective from the standpoint of the awaker with the physical body. You understand? And then it's subject. But in that locker, once you leave the body, the experience is objective, because it's not from the standpoint of you, the awaker, incarnated. Now you are not using this physical body, you are using another body, another instrument of experience that somehow has the same frequency of those lockers, okay? So from that experiencing entity, the experience is objective. It's not subject. I found that very beautiful. You remember, Mark? I find very nice correction. That is objective experience. Okay. From here, it is subjective, because from here I see that it's just experience my punya. Your punya? No. I have contributed for some of that punya. So, but then he made a point again, in the same line as what you are presenting, Lynn. He said, but according to our scriptures, you cannot grow spiritually in those lokas, and much less gain moksha. You understand? You're going to have some objective experience. The same way I, as a dreamer, having an objective experience as a dreamer. When I awake, I say, no, it was a subjective experience, but it's not really from the standpoint of the dreamer. And from the same, with a subtle body, a very subtle, specific body, to go in those lokas, I'm going to have objective experience there. But somehow it seems that, and this, I don't give much energy and attention to that because I don't care. If I find myself in a locker and if there I can grow and elevate myself spiritually, so great, no? But if I'm just going to enjoy Punya Papa and this exhausting, spending, I'm spending Punya Papa and I'm not gaining anything except the pure experience of Punya Papa, and I'm not extracting knowledge from the experience of exhausting Punya Papa. It's like, oh, and I have a lot of money, I go to the mall and I spend it, but I'm not gaining any knowledge from that. I'm just spending my savings. And then later on, I don't have any saves, and then I learn something. I say, oh my God, I should be moderate with my spending. But when we go into these lockers, it seems we just spend our Punya Papa. It seems that we need to exhaust some of that before, but it is interesting. Swami Paramahansa say, no, our scriptures, they say that you cannot really grow or gain moksha in any other lokas. You have to come back to this physical material dimension. So it's not important, but it is, it's for some people, it is fascinating, those concepts.
Makes you realize how precious every waking moment is.
Very well said, yes. I have a friend of mine here in Brazil who is a good inquirer, but he has a background of a lot of this astral traveling experience and so on, and he still has a hard time to accept certain concepts such as this one. He believes that leaving the body, you're going to continue growing in other realms, you understand, and growing. I don't care, whatever. I'm here and I want to grow because life is a school, an opportunity for purify and grow and elevate myself. Que será. When I leave my body, if I find myself in a place in which I can have meaningful experience, because experience is only meaningful if you can grow, learn. If I find myself in a meaningful environment where experience can be a source for knowledge, and then I say, great, because of what? Because I don't care for experience. I only care if I can gain some knowledge. That is the attitude of the Vedantine. Do you agree, Mark?
Yes, on the whole. However, if I'm in Brahma Loka and I'm sitting with Brahman, that's got to be a meaningful experience, and that naturally has got to be growthful just by being in that proximity to Brahman.
But you have to be careful because with Vedanta, you may realize that you are Brahma Loka, and then you find yourself alone there, say, oh my God, all that is I.
Yeah. Well, that constitutes growth, no?
all of this, any and all field of experience is duality. A duality is the experiencer and the experienced. You have an experiencer and you have an experience. All of this is duality, and duality exists in all kinds of realms and dimensions and so on, because we see that there is even an experiencer in my dream state every night. You understand? Duality is all over the place. And you can have good dreams and sit there with Brahma and many others, and enjoy yourself. and even get some satsang. But it is duality, is still a sort of delusion. Huh? But you may say like, I know it's a delusion, but this is the best one. I'm having satsang with Mr. Brahmaji. Huh? Okay, if you say that the dream is an illusion and its fundamentals are equally illusion, whereas the present creation is not an illusion and it's not obliterated and its fundamentals must therefore be true, I ask you, what is illusion? It is determined by the transitory nature of things, which is nothing but appearance to and disappearance from our sense. Wow. I mean, this text is a bomb. It's really like it detonates one after the other that we have to dig in to enjoy. We leave it for next week. And today is Thursday. And then we meet again next Monday. All right? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Very nice to meet you again and again with you guys. I hope our Sangha survives for some more time. I can practice some of my English with you guys at least. My broken English. Namaste. Meet you again soon.
Thank you, Orlando.
Great, thanks, Orlando.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.